There's always a wide variety of properties on show at auctions, and it's safe to say that they're not all as popular as each other.
Yeah, there can be a race to get the best bargains, but if at first you don't succeed, please try and then try again. Let's see who won at today's auctions.
We're off to Kent, where Jackie gets a shock in this Victorian property.
Ah! Wow.
In Warwickshire, Dion feels like he's gone back in time.
Everything about this kitchen is the 80s.
And in Devon, Martin's pleasantly surprised with this 7-bed terrace.
Wow! This is looking incredible!
All these properties have been sold at auction, and we'll find out who bought them and what they paid for them when they went under the hammer.
Yes, we are. That's yours.
First up, we're heading to Kent, known as the Garden of England, thanks to its abundance of orchards and green rolling hills. Today, we're on the north coast in the charming town of Whitstable. So, will our first auction lot come up smelling of roses? Over to you, Jackie.
Well, this is a great location. I'm just half a mile from the town centre, half a mile from the train station. And do you know how far the beach is? Yep, you've guessed it, half a mile. And I'm on this very pleasant residential road to see this 4-bedroom, detached, Victorian property that went to auction with a guide price of £250,000. Straight away, I love that it's double-fronted. Love that you've got the sash windows. Yeah, then a little bit rickety. I love all the features that you can see around. Very, very typical. A bit of a spruce up. Yeah, it could be okay. I'm intrigued with this one. Let's take a look inside.
There is access to the rear garden to the right-hand side, which is always handy. It's on a fairly busy road and the front garden walls have seen better days. Could you make better use of this space by creating off-road parking? You would need permission from the local authorities, but it's food for thought.
Wow, I didn't expect the inside to look like this. I must admit. But when you come into a place like this, have your safety head on, and that's what I'm going to put on right now. I'm straight into this hallway, and I can see there's been some damage on the ceilings there. If this place has been left empty for many, many years, then maybe there's obviously water coming in from the roof or from upstairs. But the hallway itself, if you look past the pigeon activity, look past the cobwebs, look past all the debris and the dirt, it is rather grand and fitting for this Victorian property. So first things first, I'm going to start in this room. So, wow. I am not normally lost for words, but, when I say that this needs to be stripped right back, it really, really does. But there are some great features. Look at the coving. I love that we've got the picture rails. That fireplace is extraordinary. You've got bay windows, they are sash. You will need to reinstate them and obviously have them double glazed. The skirting boards are magnificent. They are true Victorian, really high. I would really love to see this place brought back to its grandeur. But a lot of work to be done here. But you know what? It's doable. Now I'm going to go carefully over to the other reception room. So, look at this. The larger of the reception rooms. Look at the space here. Yeah, there is some damage on the ceiling in front of the bay windows, but there are, again, traditional, original sash windows. There is central heating. Yes, there are cobwebs. Yes, there's dust. But if you can imagine all of this cleared out, a real sort of loving decor in here, this would be such a grand room. You can hear how loud it is, loud it is, loud it is. That was my echo. But all in all, I'm really loving this house. I really do. I'm going to go back into the hallway and just have a look. So back into the hallway, you've got the stairs leading up to your bedrooms and bathrooms. Now, this hallway leads down to the garden, and again, it's really overgrown. There's lots of debris, lots of mess in the garden that's inaccessible. And then you have got a dining room and then a kitchen. Well, not much of a kitchen. Now, this is where my tour ends, but a far safer video tour begins.
Don't worry, our camera person was equipped with the correct footwear and clothing to show us upstairs safely. Like the rest of the house, it's seen better days. The first bedroom is huge. And there are 3 more bedrooms, some of which appear to have lodgers already. The ceilings in 2 of the bedrooms are in a very poor state, and like downstairs, there are signs of damage due to water ingress. Safety needs to be the #1 priority here, and before the renovation begins, the buyer will need to bring in professionals to assess how the work can be carried out. It's clear that everything needs to be stripped back on this floor, including the separate bathroom and WC. If you can look past its current rundown appearance, there is certainly potential here to create a beautiful home. But whoever buys this will need a big budget and lots of courage.
You got a heart of a lion, so tear down what's in front of you. Never stop trying. Recognize what you gotta do. Heart of a lion.
But before we find out who that person is, we've asked along one of the property experts from the auction house who sold the lot to hear his thoughts and what he would suggest doing with it.
So this property is a real gem in auction. It needs, obviously, full renovation. It offers huge potential because it's on a large corner plot, but it is in a really bad condition. It needs to be stripped back. You need to really try and figure out exactly how much it's going to cost you to renovate the property, bring it back to a livable condition. Once you've done that, you'll then start to figure out what exactly you can do on the site to maximise its potential and value. But the building itself needs to be sorted first.
How much does the expert think it will cost to carry out the renovation?
You're probably looking in the region of £150,000 to £200,000 to bring it back into being in good condition.
And upon completion, what could the returns be?
So after renovation of this property, assuming it's been done to a high standard, large 4-bedroom detached house, I would expect it to be on the market for somewhere between £700,000 and £750,000. And if you're going to look to rent it out, I would imagine it's going to be around £2,000 per calendar month.
Well, if someone could bring this dilapidated property back to its former glory, it could be quite magnificent. But it's going to take an awful lot of work and some very deep pockets to bring this house back to life. Is it really worth doing it? Of course it is. Let's see who agreed when it went under the hammer.
The successful bid of £383,000 was made by Amy, a recruitment business owner. She and her husband have experience renovating their previous homes, including one which was in a similar condition to this, so they're confident they can work their magic here. Amy met with Jackie to tell her more.
Amy, it's lovely to meet you.
Good to meet you.
And wow, but also congratulations, actually.
Thank you. I think so.
Yeah, good, good. But why did you buy this house?
I'd say because it's a detached Victorian house in Whitstable, and they are few and far between. We live 5 minutes walk around the corner, and we've lived here for about 8 years, so it's a home.
And what are you going to do with the house? Is it for you to live in? Because you only
Yes.
live 5 minutes down the road.
We live in a Victorian terrace at the moment, and it would just be lovely to have space and a garden and, yeah, it being a detached house.
Oh, that's going to be really nice.
Yeah,
So
it'll be
really,
lovely.
you're upsizing?
Yes, we are, yeah.
So what is the plan for it?
This will be the sitting room.
Yes.
which will open up via wooden Victorian doors.
So what's behind there?
That's the garden. But the hallway will be... There'll be one door to the current sitting room, which goes through into several very, very dark, dingy, wet rooms at the moment, but they will be open-planned into a living sitting room, kitchen area, with doors going onto the courtyard as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the features, because you've got the original skirting very high.
Yeah, lovely. We're going to
I love it.
either restore them or redo
Yes.
them, but keep them in the same
Yeah.
character. We're going to put it back to its Victorian glory, really, with maybe with a bit of a personality twist.
Yes, that's going to be lovely. And then, as we move upstairs now, what's going to happen up there?
That will be directly above us, a bedroom, and the other side of the hallway, a bedroom. And then we're going to make the back of the house into a third big bedroom.
Right.
And then the stairs will continue up
Yeah.
into the loft. And
You're going up into the loft?
Up into the loft, yes.
And so up there you're going to make a bedroom and ensuite?
Yes, and a walk-in wardrobe.
Yeah, that's great. So you're going to make 2 of the bedrooms into 1. That's going to be a larger room, and then you're going to go up.
Yeah.
So then that becomes... It's still going to be a 4-bed house.
Yes, yeah. But they'll all be decent sized, no box rooms and...
Yeah, I love it. Talk to me about the front, because I was looking at the front garden. What are you going to do? Are you going to do a drop curb and
We've put in for planning permission already for to make that a driveway and parking.
Yeah. And so, who's going to do the work?
We are, with the help of some skilled tradespeople. Our house we've just sold to do this was pretty much in the same state, but it was 2 flats, and it was... Well, I don't know whether you would say it was worse than this. And we've been living there very happily, and we love it, and so we use the same people because it all worked well. My husband project managed it, but also got down and dirty with them. He loves it.
Oh, that's exciting. That's brilliant. So, what about budget? How much are you prepared to spend on this?
I need to do the detailed budget, but we are looking at around 150, 200, I'd say.
What about timescale?
I would say we're looking at 10 months, but we're going to try and do it in less.
Well, look, Amy, I wish you and your family
Thank you
the
very
very,
much.
very best of luck. I really do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take a breath. Yeah. I love that Amy has bought this property to be the new family home. But there is an awful lot of work to do and a lot of hard graft before this can be comfortably lived in. How will she get on? You can find out later in the show.
We're heading to Warwickshire and the small town of Bedworth. Once an important part of the 19th century silk ribbon weaving industry, modern-day Bedworth is still a manufacturing hub. And the torches from the 2012 London Olympics were made on the outskirts of the town. Dion's here to shine a light on our next auction lot.
You know what, when I come to see houses, I do sometimes like to look around just to see how the driveways and the front gardens are kept. And as I look around, I can mainly see bungalows that are in really nicely well-kept condition. Property I'm here to see is this 2-bed bungalow, had a guide price of £125,000 when it went to auction. We've got off-street parking, we've got a garage as well, and we've got a ramp. Now, that doesn't work, because how do you get to the garage when you've got a ramp there? Get rid of one of them. I'd get rid of the ramp, keep the garage. Good storage.
Let me know. Should I stay or should I?
Unless you need the ramp, that is.
Should I stay or should I go?
Right. We are in. We've got a solid door, which is a good start. This hallway feels a little bit dark, though, quite tight. The walls are quite close together. And then we come to a sort of an area here, hallway, where all the rooms are off this hallway space. I'll get to them in a minute. This is one of the bedrooms. It's an okay-sized bedroom. There's lots of stuff that's been left in here. That all needs to be cleared out so you can actually see what you're working with. It needs to be decorated. You need new carpets. We've got central heating, which is good. And looking at those windows there, maybe we're going to have to spend a few quid on some new double glazing. But not a bad start. Okay, over the hallway into the lounge area, and it feels like I've just walked back into the house I used to live in when I was a little kid in Leicester. It's very 80s in here, all the 80s furniture. We've got a corner unit there. Gas fire needs to come out. All this needs to come out. We've got polystyrene tiles. They need to come out as well. Okay, quiz question for you. What do we think this is? Have a little look, have a little look. A little spin round for you there. It was in front of the fire, so is it a fire guard or is it not a fire guard? Have a look at this. It's actually a table. I know. I thought it was a fire guard as well. Okay, just a little bit further down the hallway, you have got your, I'm going to say shower room, sort of wet roomy thing. You've got a sink, you've got toilet, and then you've got this kind of open shower. Take it all out, put a fresh suite in there, and then I think you'd be off and running. There's your kitchen. I'll get to that in a minute. Here's your second bedroom. It's a little bit bigger than the first bedroom, which is at the front of the property. This is looking onto the back garden. We've got more polystyrene tiles. The room's fine. I'm happy with it. Just needs to be stripped, decorated, start again.
Yes, starting again with decor from the 21st century would certainly help. And so far, that's all this house really needs.
And we are into the kitchen, and we are still in the 80s. Everything about this kitchen is the 80s yet again. Yeah, I think there's a better way to configure this kitchen. If you could take it all out, start again. It's not a bad sized kitchen, I've got to say. Modernise it up a little bit, that would be fine. And then we've got a bit of extra space here with a conservatory, which I believe would have been put on a little bit later, because this is the back wall, that's back door. This has just been bolted on at a later date. And I've got to say, I'm not really feeling it. I think a nice brick-built sort of extension is the way forward. I think it's going to enhance the building. I think it's going to enhance the value of the property as well. So that's the way I'd go. Take it or leave it. It's just my advice.
To the back, there is the addition of a spacious garden. It certainly needs a bit of work, but there is potential to create a great outdoor space here. But will a property expert agree? We've asked one along from the auction house who sold the lot to hear his thoughts on this two-bed, semi-detached bungalow that had a guide price of £125,000.
The bungalow needs full renovation, really. It's got a fairly newish central heating system being put in at some point. Other than that, a full makeover is needed. So new kitchens, new bathroom, decorating, flooring. There is scope for a small extension to the rear. There's no reason why you couldn't. I think the conservatory does need replacing with a small extension. It'd be nice to have more of a dining kitchen, and the kitchen's quite small at the moment. You're not going to get a huge extension just because of the size of the garage. And if you are very clever, you might be able to even get a third bedroom out of it.
Something to consider, but it will depend on the future buyer's wants and needs. So upon completion, what does he think the returns could be?
Once renovated, I'd expect the value to be around £200,000. If there was an extension put onto the rear to give it more of a dining kitchen, then the value probably would increase to around £220,000 to £230,000.
And if put on the rental market?
Once the property is renovated, I'd expect it to rent for around £700 per calendar month. If there was an extension and a third bedroom was added, the rental value would probably increase to around £800 to £850 per calendar month.
So we've got a bungalow that's stuck in the 80s and it needs a few quid spending on it. On a positive note, though, you've got a good-sized back garden, you've got a garage out here, you've got off-street parking as well, and if you were to get it for anywhere near the guide price of £125,000, I think it would be a project worth taking on. Let's see who fancied doing just that when he went under the hammer.
Online.
Yes, we are. That's yours.
It was John here on the left and his brother-in-law Chris on the right, and Chris's sister Julie, who bought the property for £138,000. Despite none of them having a background in property, they've been planning a joint development project for some time, and they think this bungalow is the perfect starting point. Chris and John met with Dion to tell him more.
Chris and John, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dale.
Nice to meet you.
Let's start at the beginning then. How was the auction? Was it a challenge? Is it your first one? Have you been before?
Yeah, it was actually our first ever auction. It was online. I was actually in the meeting as well at the time.
So you're doing two things at once?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a bit of a challenge, but yeah, it worked out.
Chris, were you all over this as well? Or?
I was at work and then I was out, got home, I walked the dog, and then I looked at my phone and John had put, "We've bought a bungalow." So, and I was like, quickly, how much? Because I was worried of how much it was. But then when he told us about the price, we were both pleased.
On the day of the auction, did you say, John, crack on with the auction, see what you can get it for?
Yeah, John's an accountant, he's the money man. So,
Oh, OK.
Yeah.
You've got yourself a bungalow now.
Yeah.
I like this bungalow, by the way. It feels really solidly built. Stuck
Sold.
in the 80s. Sold. Thank you very much. Bang. It's stuck in the 80s, but it's quite nice, isn't it? It's got a nice feel about it.
It has. It's really solid. We've had a good look. We came and had a view beforehand, and we thought, yeah, it's superficial. There's a lot of ripping out to do, and it needs dragging up to date. But yeah, we're prepared to do it. With a bit of hard graft and not spit and polish. A lot more than that,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, I think it's got potential.
Yeah, and the rooms are all a good size as well. I think it's got plenty of potential.
You've got your little sort of conservatory area there as well. What's happening with that? Are you keeping it? Are you making good? Are you getting rid of it? What's the story?
Yeah, we're going to plaster the external wall and plaster the UPVC panels on it, tidy it up, new flooring, spotlights, just make it a proper, fresh room.
Yeah.
Sunroom, maybe.
Or dining room.
Or dining room.
Yes,
That's the
John.
plan.
Yes, I like that idea. Good idea. Sort of nice to the back garden.
Yeah.
Maybe you can put some more doors on.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
John works full-time as a car engineer and Chris as an accountant, so the brothers-in-law plan to spend their spare time renovating the property. Luckily, between them, they have some carpentry, tiling and decorating experience. Meanwhile, John's wife, Julie, will take on a project management role, overseeing the admin and bringing in any necessary tradespeople, although Chris has a plan for that too.
Got a lot of friends who are in different trades, so there's a few mates rates in there.
You hope so.
Well, there will be, I hope so, yeah. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at as well. And people you can trust, which is more importantly.
Yeah.
They can talk openly and candidly, what you want to do.
Correct. How much is your budget?
Right, the money man, John.
Sorry, John, what's the budget then? Give us-
So, yeah, we're hoping to complete it for around 20,000 in terms of the actual development costs, and then obviously the fees on top of that as well.
Good. And how long do you think it will take to do this place?
I think three to 4 months,
Yeah,
I think
that
would
sounds
be
about right
pretty
to me.
good.
So the plan A is to sell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do it up and sell. And then does that mean that you're going to go again and just keep doing what you're doing?
That's the plan. So,
But if the rental market works better, you're happy to go to plan B?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
OK. Well, listen, I wish you all the best. I hope it all works out. Good luck.
Thank you
Cheers,
very
thank
much.
you very much.
Cheers, then.
So we've got a pair of newbies to the property developing world. And for their first property, they've done OK with a solid little bungalow. They're saying all the right things, but will they do all the right things? You can find out how this pair get on later in the programme.
Coming up in Devon, Martin finds himself in a never-ending terrace.
My word, you just come in and it just goes back and back and back.
And we return to Bedworth to find out if there's been success for the brothers-in-law.
Yeah, we're still talking. Yeah.
Just about.
It's time to head back to Whitstable, where Jackie saw this 4-bed Victorian property guided at £250,000. The outside looked promising, but inside gave her a bit of a fright.
Wow, I didn't expect the inside to look like this.
Yes, this large home was completely derelict.
I am not normally lost for words, but, when I say that this needs to be stripped right back, it really, really does.
I am speechless.
Jackie may have been lost for words, but the successful bidder, Amy, who paid £383,000 for the lot, was excited to transform it into a stunning family home for her and her husband, Rob.
We're going to put it back to its Victorian glory, really, with maybe with a bit of a personality twist.
Yes.
Amy had a budget of £150,000 to £200,000 and a timescale of 10 months to transform this property. We've returned 6 months later to meet up with Amy and Rob and check out how things are progressing. Well, work is clearly underway.
So we have literally just had to clear everything out, which was a big undertaking.
Amy and Rob have been able to create a large, open-plan living kitchen area.
The entrance to the kitchen will move to over there, and this is going to be closed up. And then this will be the sofas and the coffee area here. The kitchen table should end up being in the middle, followed by the kitchen at the end. That side's going to be sitting room, with French doors going out into the garden, onto a terrace with a garden table.
Probably took us about a month to get through the garden and all the rubbish that had been thrown out there over the years.
What a difference clearing out the outside space has made. And as for upstairs,
We've just started studying all the new layout for the first floor.
yes, this area, which used to be bedrooms 3 and 4, and where the bathroom and WC lived, has been stripped out and taken back to a shell. It will now house 1 bathroom and 1 larger 3rd bedroom.
We've still got quite a lot to do. A bit of brickwork, get the windows and doors in. Yeah.
Plasterboarding, everything. And then you go upstairs into the new dormer, which is our bedroom, the master room, with an ensuite bathroom and a big wardrobe.
So we've got first fix electrician plumbers in now. We're just finishing off tiling the roof and tiling the front pitch and getting the flat roof watertight. And then we can start getting on in here.
This is where it kind of builds up rather than taking down.
Yeah, pretty much.
Amy and Rob have plans to make the house as environmentally friendly as possible.
We have a solar panel going on the flat roof of the dormer, air source heat pump as well, and all the windows are going to be completely new double glazed units that are going to be fitted properly.
Gas.
No gas. Yeah, and possibly we're looking into rainwater irrigation as well. So we're looking at maybe 70% off-grid for this property.
Rainwater harvesting systems collect rainwater, which runs off large surfaces such as roofs and stores it in tanks stored above or below ground. The water is then passed through a filter and can be supplied directly where needed on demand, such as to toilets or washing machines. It's a fantastic way for Amy and Rob to reduce the carbon footprint of this large property. They're nearly at the stage to think about interior design. So what is their vision?
It's Victorian house, and we want to keep that kind of style going. And where we've added the dormer, that's going to be quite modern. But
Original features mixed with a bit of contemporary.
Their request to create off-road parking was approved, which will be another great addition to their new home. Rob has been getting hands-on with the renovation, as well as getting in a team of tradespeople to carry out certain jobs. It's all systems go, so how much longer do they think it will take to finish?
We've started working around 3 months ago, The first month was taken up clearing out the garden, and then we started stripping down the house. I think we'll smash our 10-month goal.
Oh, we will,
actually,
yeah.
And what about their budget of £150,000 to £200,000?
I think we're still looking at 200 in total.
Yeah.
Well then, I think it's time we heard from the property expert who viewed the lot on our first visit to find out what he makes of the changes so far.
Coming back to the property, it certainly looks a lot different. The owners have done a great job in stripping this place back to basics, back to a shell condition, exactly what it needed. Walking around, I can certainly see that they started to change the layout of the property. Really, really welcomed. I think it needed that to bring it into modern times. I can see they've extended into the roof, which is fantastic. So it's going to be a great, fantastic property once it's finished.
The plan all along has been for this to become Amy and Rob's home once complete, but with a projected total spend of around £583,000, has it been a good investment?
If it was to go onto the open market, I would expect to see it, obviously depends on the level of finish, I would expect to see it probably in the region of £750,000, maybe £775,000.
Yeah, for now, I think, yes, that sounds about right, yeah.
If the couple stick to their budget, that could mean a pre-tax profit of £192,000. But don't worry, we will return at a later stage to see the end result here. So what's next for the couple?
It will be nice to get a bit of downtime after this build. Maybe a nice holiday somewhere could be in order. Yeah.
We're now off to the Devon coast and the English Riviera town of Torquay.
Take me to the sea. It's where I wanna be.
Where in January 2022, Martin was checking out the accommodation options.
I'm here to see what I think sounds like an amazing opportunity. It's a 7-bedroomed mid-terrace, guide price £200,000. 7 bedrooms, whoa!
This is it. It's the big one.
OK, so what have we got? Well, straight into a little entrance area. I actually don't have to go too far to start getting very excited. Looks like it's got a proper electrical supply for the size of building, very industrial looking, and loads of fuses and switches. There's also a fire alarm, which is something you definitely have to have. And then here, looks like there's like somebody's done a layout of all the different floors. Wow, this is looking incredible. Let's actually see what it looks like in practice. This is the kitchen dine that we saw on that little map there. It looks to be in semi-okay condition. Difficult to see because there's quite a lot of clutter. And then the first of the bedrooms there, and then we kind of like work back into the property. Now, it's already feeling like it's a bit of a TARDIS. It has got that double aspect at the front, so it's already quite a large frontage. But my word, you just come in and it just goes back and back and back. A bedroom there, useful loo there, another bedroom there, your fire exit out onto a sort of patio area there, and then right to the end of the building where you've got this room here with what looks like another access outside there. So that's good. So I'm already thinking about options in terms of getting access into the property. Is there a way you could perhaps make this some kind of a self-contained flat or something, maybe knocking down a few of these walls, giving an access from outside to whoever wanted to rent this out? That's just one option. And we've only seen the ground floor. There are 2 more floors to go.
Outside, there was a courtyard area with no grass in sight. But if the intention was to rent the property, then a low-maintenance space was really the way to go. But this property didn't stop there, with more floors still to see.
Yeah, we're moving up. Yeah, we're moving up.
So, up onto the first floor, more bathrooms, more bedrooms. I mean, the property's obviously been used as some kind of multiple accommodation, but there's a bit of a difference between that and what's called an HMO, a house of multiple occupation, officially, it's so big that if you wanted to have it as that, officially, you'd probably have to apply for an HMO licence. And to get one of those, there's all sorts of things you have to do to make a property compliant. Safety things to do with fire escapes, to do with fire alarms, to do with safety doors. Then there's all sorts of things to do with the amount of facilities you have, the number of bathrooms, the amount of cookers and fridges. It's quite a complicated thing, but why would you even think about it? For a start, the property lends itself really well to it, even pretty much as it is. Secondly, if you get them right, houses of multi-occupation can generate really substantial amounts of money compared to renting out the property as a whole, because you are literally renting out individual rooms. So in terms of potential returns on your investment, turn this into an HMO could be very, very interesting.
On the top floor, there was a bathroom and another 2 bedrooms, but with a sloping roof, the space was a bit awkward, and there might have been issues with compliance to use it as a living space. But even so, surely there was more than enough here to whet any property developer's appetite.
Sold. Well done.
The successful bid of £220,000 was made by business partners Ralph, Here Up Ahead and Darren. Based just outside London, they were experienced property developers and they had done HMOs in the past. They plan to continue down this route with their new purchase.
Ralph, Darren, good to meet you both.
Hi. Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me what attracted you to this property and why Torquay?
Well, we've already got 2 HMOs in Torquay.
That's a house of multiple occupation, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Right.
So we've got a good letting agent, we've got good demand in the area, we work with the council.
Just duplicating the model.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, so we know it works.
And how does it work between you in terms of roles and responsibilities?
So I tend to do spreadsheets, numbers, that sort of administration. I'll get involved in these early stages with regards to the rip out and the clearing of the building. But then Ralph's in charge of pretty much everything else.
Yeah, I'm a painter and decorator back at home, so I do refurbishments anyway, so I'll do as much as I can and then manage the gas safe people and the electricians as required.
Right.
Obviously, with the size of the place, we
can't do it.
We're going to be needing a lot of help.
Yeah. But of course, when we're refurbing a property like this, there are lots of regulations. Fire doors, fire door closers, alarm systems, escape routes, window openers, those types of things. So there's a lot to consider in the house.
And of course, this will be a licensable HMO because it's so big, won't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's one of the things we've got to do is run it through planning permission to get the change of use to a sui generis. So it's because it's so many bedrooms.
Right.
Last week we sent off for planning permission.
Right.
Because there were 2 dormers upstairs. You probably saw that room. It's not really usable.
Interesting design.
Yeah. So, yeah, we want to join those 2 dormers to kind of square off that room. So that's under the same planning as the change of use. We've done that all on the same document.
Ralph and Darren wanted the property to obtain sui generis status, a Latin term meaning of its own kind, and is a classification that's needed for an HMO that has 7 or more occupants. But they were confident they would get planning permission for a 10-bed HMO, and they had a budget of £70,000 to £80,000. They hoped to have completed the project in 9 months, but would rent rooms out as and when they were ready to keep the money coming in. And they were looking to make some of the rooms self-contained.
The 2 top floor rooms are likely to have kitchenettes. And there's a bathroom on that floor as well, so they'll be quite nice rooms.
I don't know if you noticed, but there's a concrete outbuilding, so we're going to make that a laundry room.
Oh, OK,
so that'll free up plenty of room in the kitchen to do your cooking in, and all the washing and laundry will be outside.
And 11 months on, when we first returned, progress was steady, with several rooms complete. The whole house was rewired, replumbed and replastered. The work had been carried out by local trades, with some input from Ralph and Darren. But although they'd made good progress, it hadn't all gone to plan.
The kitchen is now bigger than it was when we first bought it, because when we took the tiles off, plasterboard came off, more tiles behind that, and more tiles behind that, and then all the walls came away. So that created additional work. It then needed plastering. Both the toilets had to be completely taken back to brick because there was water coming through either from the roof or previously. On top of that, we also had to replace one of the flat roofs out the back as well.
With more work than expected, plus Ralph and Darren being busy with their own jobs, the timescale had already slipped by a couple of months. And then there was another spanner in the works.
Planning has been prolonged. We are still waiting for a change of use. In fact, we were at the solicitors just this morning getting a statement signed, which hopefully will be the final hurdle to get the planning signed off.
And that delay with the planning permission had meant they'd parked their plans to convert the dormer windows in the loft. While they were still confident that they would get their HMO licence in the near future, they were still able to let some rooms out and get some income coming in to offset the money that would be going out.
We'll probably finish the project at about 65,000 for the first 8 rooms. The furniture for each room on top of that was another £5,000. If we don't do the dormer conversion, probably about £5,000 to finish the rooms, and then they'll be ready to let. But if we were to do the dormer conversion, that probably is going to be £15,000 to £20,000.
So depending on their decision on the dormer conversion, the final investment, including the purchase price of £220,000, was heading towards £295,000 to £310,000. But at that stage, were they on the right track? What did a local estate agent think?
The standard of finish is really good. It's decorated neutrally and the rooms are a great size. There's great facilities and the kitchen and communal areas are finished to a good standard.
And when finished and fully licensed, even without the dormer rooms, there would be 8 rooms to let.
Each room on average should rent for about £525 per month. In total for the 8 rooms.
Bara no kasikoto kimi ga kakekai ga baraki boko ga sono toge wa kasite soni ke kakarite mira no sita furai kiri anoma naka himite.
That should bring in £4,200 per month.
That's probably where we thought it would be, perhaps a little bit more, but yeah, very good.
Yes, it was very good, as that would represent a whopping yield of 17%. And with the agent thinking a potential sale price of £425,000, there was a possible pre-tax profit in excess of £100,000 on the resale market. But there was still that HMO licence to get and the decision to be made on what to do with the top floor space. So would this big house, with its big returns, deliver what it promised for Ralph and Darren? Well, you can find out later in the show.
We still have 2 projects left to see, but will they have stayed on track?
Or will they have veered off course with few changes to see? Let's find out.
It's time to head back to Bedworth in Warwickshire, where Dion saw this 2-bed semi-detached bungalow guided at £125,000. It was spacious, but the interior was stuck in the past.
It feels like I've just walked back into the house I used to live in when I was a little kid in Leicester. It's very 80s in here, all the 80s furniture.
The successful bidders who paid £138,000 were John, here on the left, his brother-in-law Chris, and Chris's sister Julie. This was their first family renovation project, and the trio were hoping to bring the property into
It's superficial, there's a lot of ripping out to do, and it needs dragging up to date. But yeah, we're prepared to do it, you know, with a bit of hard graft, and yeah, I think it's got potential.
They had a budget of £20,000 and hoped to complete the project in 3 to 4 months. Now we've returned 7 months later to see how they got on. Wow, the bungalow now looks bright and modern, thanks to a bit of TLC out here. The front garden's been cleared, gravel's been put down, and there's the addition of some nice flower beds around the edge. The ramp is still there, and so is the garage. Through the front door, we are now greeted with new flooring, which gives us a glimpse of the extensive refurb that's been carried out here.
To start with, it was the house clearance and getting off all the old wallpaper, the polystyrene tiles, the wood panelling.
Chris and John decided on a plain white colour scheme, creating a blank canvas for whoever moves in. The bedrooms have been completely stripped out, replastered and painted. There are new skirting boards and double-glazed windows throughout. The newly laid carpet gives the house a cosy feel. They decided to install a new bathroom suite, and the contemporary features lend themselves to the overall neutral and modern look they've opted for here, which is clear to see in the changes to the heart of the home, the kitchen. It's no longer a throwback to the 80s, it's been updated with sleek white units, grey metro tiles, and it also includes a new breakfast bar.
I think in the end our strategy was replacing everything.
Going out into the conservatory stroke dining room, we discovered that the roof was leaking quite a lot, and the felt was really sort of perished in a lot of areas. So John and I decided to fit a rubber roof on the hottest day of the year.
And redo the stud work and, you know, re-plaster it, but I think it's come off extremely well, I think. The work on the garden, we completely underestimated. We've removed 4 or 5 trees, a load of fencing and replaced all of that. We have dug out about a skip worth of concrete, replaced the lawn, and then we've also decked again at the back and tidied it all up, really. The garage, we have kept it as it is. We've improved the guttering and fascia boards and just tidied it up.
Chris and John have done an amazing job here, but did they come across any challenges along the way?
In terms of the clearance, it took us a number of skips.
And it's just the garden waste as well. I mean, you can't all get it in the skip, so we've had, you know, removal firms come that specialise in that, and obviously tree surgeons, because there were some massive trees.
The plan was always for this property to be a family project, with John's wife and Chris's sister, Julie, helping out by handling all of the admin and advising on design. Chris's sons, Joe and Sam, also chipped in by helping with the strip out, while his father-in-law, a former bricklayer, rebuilt the front wall. They did bring in some specialist trades, but Chris and John have got hands-on too. So did they enjoy working together?
Yeah, we're still talking. Yeah,
just about.
Yeah, well, family, can't choose your can't choose your family, but no, we've worked really well with each other.
was doing a lot of the work themselves, one of the reasons they went over on their timescale.
Yeah, we just underestimated the scale of the task, really, to be honest.
If it was a full-time job, we would have got it done in that time. But also we wanted to have the finish that we really wanted, which we weren't prepared to compromise on. So it was a case of, you know, if it takes that amount of time, it does, and hopefully get it sold.
And how's their budget of £20,000 looking?
In the end, we've spent close to 35. A lot of it has been in the garden, all the skips that we've had to buy, and we did the bathroom in the end. It was just the finish, and also, obviously, inflation. But we think it's worth it for the finish.
But will the property experts who viewed it on our first visit agree? We've asked him back to get his thoughts and figures now the work is complete.
Yeah, when I first walked in, it really got the wow factor. Everything's been done. They've done a full comprehensive refurbishment, replastering, wiring, windows, internal doors, nice kitchen and bathroom, so it looks really, really nice. I think the main appeal will be to people downsizing. It's ready to move into, it's ready to go. However, more and more people will be looking at it as professional couples looking to move into it, or even small families.
Chris, John and Julie's plan A for the property is to sell it on. But what does the expert think they could achieve on the rental market?
If the property was going to be let out, I'd expect a rental price of around £875 per calendar month.
Yeah, the let's probably around about that,
Yeah,
maybe
that's about right.
900. But yeah, I think that's conservative at the very least.
That's a possible yield of 6%, but I'm not sure it's enough to sway them away from selling the property. With Chris and John's total spend, including the purchase price now at £173,000, what potential sales profit could they be looking at?
If the property was placed on the market for sale, I'd expect a sale price somewhere in the region of £220,000.
I think that's a bit low. We've had 3 estimates from local businesses, estate agents, and they've been significantly more than that. Low estimate, really.
The expert's figure would still result in a pre-tax profit of £47,000. But Chris and John both feel they could achieve a higher figure. So, do they still plan to sell it?
I think so. I think it's going on to the market for sale.
Yeah, it's going for sale a lot more than that. And we hope to achieve it. So I think, we'll definitely put it on for what we've been told to put it on for.
Back now to Devon and Torquay and a building which we first saw in January 2022 that was full of potential.
It looks like there's somebody's done a layout of all the different floors. Wow! This is looking incredible!
Yes, there were more rooms here than you could shake a stick at. And that made it perfect for part-time property developers Ralph, who's at the front here, and business partner Darren. They stumped up £220,000 to add this house to their pension portfolio.
Well, we've already got 2 HMOs in Torquay.
That's a house of multiple occupation, yeah.
That's right, yeah. So we've got a good letting agent, we've got good demand in the area, we work with the council.
Just duplicating the model.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Ralph is a painter and decorator, and Darren has a marketing business background. And they were hoping their tried and tested model could convert the building into a 10-bed HMO on a budget of £70,000 to £80,000 and a timescale of 9 months. But when we first returned 11 months later, they'd got a lot of what they wanted, with 8 rooms complete, but they lacked the paperwork to rent them all out.
We are still waiting for change of use. In fact, we were at the solicitors just this morning getting a statement signed, which hopefully will be the final hurdle.
That had prevented the house being fully occupied and had halted work on 2 potential rooms on the top floor. But now, a further 10 months on, we return to see if everything is now in place.
So up here in the loft rooms, there's a bathroom. And there's 2 separate rooms. Each room has their own kitchenette.
They decided against trying to get planning permission for dormer windows, instead opting to use the space they had to the full.
quite self-contained. This is the second floor, so as tenants come up here, they haven't got to go down to the kitchen to make a cup of tea or to reheat some food, that type of activity. So once you're up here, they should be able to see up here, and it should be quite nice.
So this top floor is well catered for, but what about the rest of the building?
We've now got 9 operational HMO rooms with a large double kitchen, external laundry room, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 bathrooms, 3 of which are shared, and 1 is an ensuite.
With the rest of the building complete, the other key parts were getting change of use, and then they really would have
We obtained our HMO licence for 10 residents very quickly, and about a year ago, the building was part occupied with 6 residents, which was the maximum we could have at that time under the licensing. But we needed a change of use of the building from residential to sui generis, and that's why we required the full planning permission.
They managed to get approval for the sui generis classification required for an HMO with 7 or more occupants. But they did, in fact, decide one room was too small to be a bedroom space, so have now opted for a mere 9 rooms. But what was the look and feel they were going for?
Well, we want the HMOs to be homes, not just houses. So we do everything as you look around, as you see, is brand new. It's all new carpeted. The kitchenettes are brand new. So we try and give a high quality of finish without reaching boutique level, I guess, is where we pitch ourselves.
And getting this property ready to go was all about teamwork.
We all get involved in the rip out and as much as we can. And then in terms of moving forward, in terms of decorating, I tend to be down quite regularly, do a lot of the decorating and kitchen fitting. And then we've got some great local trades guys, carpet fitters, plumbers. So we've got a good team down here. Darren will look after the finance and all the sort of back office stuff moving forward. That's about it.
And actually, this teamwork did pay dividends because despite it being 10 months since we've returned, in terms of the actual work, Darren and Ralph reckon it's been just 2 to 4 weeks to get this finished, with all the delay down to getting the appropriate consents to making this an HMO. But have they finished it within their £80,000 maximum spend?
So on this project, we spent £60,000 on the first phase of renovation, another £5,000 on the furniture and the fittings, and then the loft cost is another £5,000.
They did, though, have £25,000 in legal fees and additional costs. So with their £70,000 spend and a £220,000 purchase price, they've brought the whole project in for £315,000. So, money well spent? What does the agent who saw it last time think?
The change to the top floor is good. It's created 2 additional lettable rooms, which will maximise the rental income for the building. The level of finish is appropriate to the market, and the property is in ready-to-move-in condition.
But how much could this £315,000 investment be worth on the resale market?
Today, on the open market, I would expect the property to achieve £425,000.
That's a handsome potential pre-tax profit of £110,000. What about its total rental income?
With all rooms let between £475 and £550 per calendar month, I would expect the gross rental income for the building to come in at £4,700 per calendar month.
They're probably quite close, although I think we're achieving a little bit more. These rooms are already rented out. This one's rented out.
520, something like that, yeah.
525.
They're all just very slightly different in the house, but the average across the house is about 525.
Should they achieve full occupancy, that would bring in a yield of a whopping 18%. So you can see why they like houses of multiple occupation. It might have been a slightly protracted project, but what are they most pleased about?
The fact it's finished.